Hi friends! I am using a new camera. I thought for my first video filmed on this camera I would do my January TBR, and I guess I'll also do like a December wrap-up, although I don't really think I read that many books in December, so I'm gonna have to see how many I actually was able to read. I was finishing up my last semester of college, as many of you know, so I don't know if the number is that impressive of books that I read in December, but reading is for fun, not for numbers. So I will show you the books that I read in December, and then we will talk about all of the books that I am hoping to read in January, especially now that I am out of school and I have a lot more free time where I don't have to be doing homework or anything like that, and I can dedicate all of that to reading and talking about books and making videos and everything like that. Let's go over what I read in December and what I want to read in January. Okay, so like I said, I really did not read that much in December. I think I had a total of 3 books that I read, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each one, tell you what I thought and all of that. Like I said, December was a very busy school month for me, so I didn't complete that many books. First book that I read was Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This is the second book in the Hunger Games series, and I am still currently reading it. I want to finish The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I think that's what it's called, because I want to see the movie, and my boyfriend really wants to see the movie, so I'm kind of holding him up by like waiting to read the book. I read Catching Fire starting in November, but I finished it technically in December, so I'm counting it for December. But this was my favorite book in the Hunger Games series. I think that it was like really traumatizing. Like there were so many things that happened that were exciting but also like kind of scary, and it really made you like put things in perspective, like wow, the things that these teenagers are going through are absolutely just horrendous. I remember just like sitting here reading and being like, if that was me, like I don't think I would survive. Like I don't know how I would possibly react to that. I would be so absolutely like in shock. It was a really good book overall. I think I gave it 4 stars. I totally recommend the series if you haven't read it, although if you haven't read it, I honestly like think you might be living under a rock, because I think everybody has read this book at some point or another. After that, I read Addicted to You, I believe is what I read next, and this is by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the first book in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series, which includes a lot of different spin-offs and everything like that, but this is the first book in the series, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was entertaining. I really liked the characters. I liked how, I thought it was interesting how they spoke about addiction. Obviously those are like really sensitive topics, but I feel like they did a good job bringing them up and being sensitive towards them and things like that. However, I do feel like there was kind of a lack of overall plot. Like a lot of the things that were going on, I was kind of like, okay, how is this connected? Like, is this really that big of a deal? I feel like a lot of it was just giving us information about the characters and their relationship, whereas like actual plot elements, there wasn't a lot going on, if that makes sense. In that regard, it wasn't like the best book I've ever read. However, I did really like the characters. I grew to like them. At first I was kind of bored, but I think as I kept reading, like towards the end, I really did end up caring about them. And because of that, I ended up giving this book 3 stars, I believe. I think overall, like it was entertaining. I enjoyed it, and I think I would recommend this to people, but I think there were a lot of things that were lacking in the plot that kind of made it hard to, you know, make sense of what was going on sometimes. I am going to continue on with the series, as you'll see, because I have heard that it gets better the longer that you go on in the series, and obviously like I want to get to the books that everybody raves about, like Hot House Flower, Kiss the Sky. I'm going to continue on with the series, but 3 stars for this one. Then lastly in December, I read Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. This is my least favorite in the entire Hunger Games series. Obviously still haven't read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but this was my least favorite. I rated this 2 stars. I was really confused a lot of the time while I was reading this book. Like I really genuinely had no idea what was going on. I could not picture 13 in my head. I think also at the end there were a lot of plot holes that we just never got answers to. I think I actually ended this book with more questions than I started it with, which is never really like a good thing, because I was kind of hoping that there would be like some major closure resolution going on, and there just kind of wasn't. I was very confused. I wanted to know how things were in the Capitol at the end. Like I feel like everything kind of wrapped up with a nice little bow, but it was very forced. Like there was a lot of things that I think needed more context and more explanation that were kind of just wrapped up really quickly and explained away really quickly. And so while a lot of it I guess kind of made sense in the end. I feel like it was very forced and quick and it didn't have a lot of thought put into it, if that makes sense. So I think I just wanted more from this book. I was confused and I wanted more from the ending. But other than that, like, it's The Hunger Games. You can't really go wrong. I would still recommend reading this book because it concludes the series and there's a lot of important information that is included in this book. However, it's my least favorite of the series and I did not really have a good time reading it. I think I really had to like convince myself to keep going, which is never a good sign. So this one I was like, okay, I probably would have DNF'd it if it wasn't the last book in the series and like if it wasn't important to read it. But yeah, not my favorite. I am just not really a fan, but I do think that it's important to read to finish off the series. I'm having some glare problems with my glasses. Please forgive that. We're going to move on to the January TBR section of this video. I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I am hoping and planning on reading in January. So first we have Ricochet by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the second book in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. I've already started reading this. I think I'm only like 20 pages in though, but I am going to be annotating this because there are just a lot of really good quotes, and not because like this is like my favorite series or anything right now, but I just think that I want to get into annotating, and so doing like a smaller book like this would be ideal for me to kind of get into it and feel out how it will go. And also there have been some really good quotes in here that I wanted to highlight and remember for when I go back, especially because I just have a feeling that the later books in this series are going to be really important and like I have a feeling that I'm really gonna love it. So I want to be able to like go back and read what I was thinking and kind of what were the quotes that stood out to me and kind of connect that to like what I'm reading in the future when I am further on in the series. Next we have Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is just like a cute little memoir, like I guess kind of like self-help book that a lot of people really love, especially Steph Borer, who is one of my favorite YouTubers. And so I kind of wanted to switch it up and do like a nonfiction book just to, I don't know, switch it up. Like I feel like I've been reading a lot of fantasy and romance, and so I wanted to kind of branch out, and that's what this is. Also, another book that I am currently reading, which is ACOWAR, A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. This is the third book in the ACOTAR series, and this one is pretty big, but I am about 40% of the way through. It has taken me a really long time, and this is the reason that I haven't yet finished a book in 2024, because this is super long and really intimidating, and so I feel like I'm almost like falling into a little bit of a slump because it's so long and intimidating, but I'm pushing through because I really love this book. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm obsessed with it, but it's just like really intimidating, the length. So hopefully I can get this done in the next couple of days because I really love this book and it is going really well. It's still not as good as A Court of Mist and Fury because I genuinely don't think anything will ever compare to that, but still really hoping to finish this month. Then we have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like I said, I'm hoping to read this month so that me and my boyfriend can finally watch the movies and I can be done with the series. Next we have Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the second book in the Divine Rivals duology. I am obsessed with Divine Rivals, so I am just so excited to finally read the sequel. Everybody has been reading it and rating it really highly. I have really high hopes for this book and I just have a really strong feeling that this is going to be a 5-star read for me. So I'm definitely going to get to this month because this is like high on my priority list. When I tell you I was obsessed with Divine Rivals, I mean like I still think about it multiple times a day, even though I read it like back in, I don't even know, maybe September, October. It's like one of my favorite books of 2023. So absolutely obsessed, cannot wait to get to this. Then we have A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is just, I think this is kind of like a little novella like in the ACOTAR series. Nothing too crazy. I think this will be quick and pretty simple to read. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but I will take as much Feyre and Rhysand as I can get. So those are all of the books that I like definitely want to attempt to get to if I can. The next 3 books are just like, it would be nice to get to them, but I'm not going to pressure myself into getting to them because, you know, it's already January 6th, 7th, and I don't want to pressure myself too bad and like get upset with myself. So that's why I'm kind of putting this on like would be nice, but like not a must to finish. And the first one is A Court of Silver Flames. This one is just like ginormous, so who knows when this is going to be done. It might have to wait until February, honestly, but it would be nice if I could finish this. I have Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I think this would be a really good palette cleanser in between all the fantasy So I'm hoping that I can get to this, but also like it's okay if I don't, because I also think this would be really cute to read around Valentine's Day in February. So I won't be super upset if I don't get to this month. And then lastly, we have Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, and this is another one that I think would be cute to read around Valentine's Day. So again, I won't be upset if I don't get to this in January, but it could be nice to have something short and quick to read amidst all these long fantasy, intense books. Just something like this, like a little palette cleanser, might be nice. So I do have it on my list, but like I said, it would be nice, but it's not a must to read in January. Those are all of the books that I read in December and all the books that I'm hoping to read in January. I'm so excited to get reading this year in 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. It is so exciting, and I'm also excited to finally have a nice camera to film on. It's so fun, and I've never had one before, so this is so exciting. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of quick and short, and I was running through all the information really quickly. I didn't really do a synopsis of any of the books because I don't want to give anything away, and a lot of these are like, well, some of these are like newer releases, so I don't want to like give anything away. But if you're interested, you can always check on Goodreads. They always have descriptions of the books that I talk about. And you can also add me on Goodreads, which will be in the description, along with all of my other social medias if you want to check those out as well. Anyways, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you in my next video very soon.